I'm here with Lindsay Farr from the Bonsai Farm in Hawthorne. How are you doing today?
I'm really fine, and you?
I'm wonderful.
Good.
Especially better now that I'm here.
It's lovely.
So, you specialise in bonsai, obviously.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about the history of bonsai?
Well, it goes back a long way to about the 12th century.
Wow.
Well, no, way beyond there.
Yeah.
But from a Japanese perspective, it was in the 12th century that a Buddhist monk, a blind Buddhist monk in Yangzhou in China, named Jianzhen, they call him in China. In Japan, they call him Ganjin.
Okay.
He made 5 attempts to get to Japan, and he struck rough seas and a bunch of different things, and finally when he got there he was blind, but he's attributed with taking things like architecture, calligraphy, bonsai, and a whole heap of other Chinese cultures that the Japanese have taken on themselves and made their own.
Wow.
So the Japanese
One man. So how did you get involved with bonsai?
It's a funny thing. As a 5-year-old, I had gone to see the movie Yellow Brick Road, Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And that was like in the early 50s. And special effects are not what they are today. And I recall one of these bonsai trees reaching out and grabbing Tin Man.
Yeah.
And I fled from the theatre in terror.
Really?
And like within weeks I'd started playing with bonsai because a lady told me about it, and I've long considered that it's a way of dealing with the fear of trees that I acquired.
Really?
Maybe. Good story.
So you're telling those trees who's boss by cutting them down to size. How did you learn how to do bonsai? Did you have a master that taught you?
No, not really. We visited Japan when we first started out in the 70s, and looked around, just looked. Because when you're a foreigner and you go to Japan and you're dealing with something that they consider to be distinctly Japanese, very little respect is given to you. In a sense, you have to be Japanese to do that as a view. So asking questions, there are some who will be very helpful, but most people will think, how could he possibly even begin to understand this culture?
Yeah. Did you have a background in gardening before?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
I'd grown up in nurseries. My
okay.
dad was a nurseryman, and so from the earliest days I saw how plants were handled.
Understood plants.
It helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is there a way that I could start growing my own bonsai tree, or?
Look, you couldn't go past using our videos at bonsaifarm.tv, the website. I mean, they are used all over the world every day.
So is it easy, or?
It's easy. It's not hard.
Really?
It's not complicated. No. No. Root pruning keeps them healthy. The top pruning keeps them small.
Wow.
Although I like to give the trees a run too, and they have their own expression, and like this one here, if you have a look at it now, it's got all these lovely new pink tips coming out. But what you have to cut them back. And so any of the long shoots, and at the back here where I haven't seen it, anything that's growing up too much, I would cut off. This is a Japanese maple, by the way. Japanese name, Yama Momiji, which is mountain maple. So at this time of year, I mean, you can cut around like so, and basically cut to the form, and new shoots emerge, and then in the winter you can get inside and make the branches more structured and such.
So how big would this kind of tree grow normally?
Well, it'd be 30 years old now.
Wow.
So if
this tree's 30 years
old. And I mean, if you have a look at it from that angle, you have a look at the trunk in there, it's quite big, and it was actually 3 or 4 trunks that were braided together. Can you see the braiding marks?
Yeah, you can see the marks.
About 30 years ago.
Have you ever grown, can it be done with any tree? Can you do like a gum tree?
Yeah, you can do a gum tree.
Really? I would love to have a gum tree bonsai.
All right. We'll have a look at a gum tree. We'll have a look at a gum tree bonsai then.
Yeah.
People like to talk about native bonsai a lot, but they're not actually that interested in buying them. So we've always run a commercial bonsai nursery, and yeah, that's not simple. It's an odd way to make a living, and so you have to pretty much stick to what people want.
What's your favourite tree? Especially in bonsai form.
Look, I love maples. Also, this poor little fella here that I've covered in the other stuff, that's Zelkova. I think that's a terrific little tree.
Do you go to Japan very often?
I don't go that often. I went in June this year, post the earthquake. But I've been 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, and do you like it there?
Yes, I do like it. It's very nice. People are generally very friendly, and the services, public transport's excellent.
So, do you think I've got a chance?
I think you got a chance.
Yeah?
I think you got a chance. But I think the key is that everyone in Japan who's good in their field actually wants to be famous in the West.
Yeah, famous elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you can help to make them famous somewhere else, I think that's a really good stepping stone. I wouldn't try to be really good at a Japanese thing.
Okay.
To win their confidence. I don't think that's the way.
I might have to do a different approach, maybe.
Yeah, like Robbie Williams, big pop star in the West. They don't know who he is in Japan.
Can I ask you one more question?
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of bonsais here, a whole farm. Did you make all of them?
Pretty much. There's 1 or 2 that we haven't done, but nearly everything we planted in the ground ourselves in the late 70s and early 80s and developed them up. There's still got a property in the hills where we grow trees in the farm to make them fatter.
Yeah. Wow.
Japanese technique, that.
So you grow them in the ground first and then transport them to a pot. Cool. Well, yeah, thanks so much for talking to us.
Okay,
It's been really interesting.
Cheers. Good luck with your program.
Yeah, I'm going to make it.
Moshi moshi.